right. Welcome to the Liberal Black, and I am your host, Cleo House Jr. Now, the Liberal Black is a place where we can discuss all things art and politics, health, love, family, you name it, from a black perspective, or at least this black's perspective, hence the name, Liberal. Well, the Liberal Black, not the Liberal Blacks. Meaning I don't intend to represent the entire race. I do not assume that we are a monolith in any kind of way. You know, there are all kinds of, different types of ways to be black, and I recognize and I celebrate that. But in this podcast, we talking about my black ways. Now, remember, folks, this is not a typical podcast episode. All the episodes are going to be different. So if this one doesn't suit you, then that's fine. Hang on for episode 2. You might like that. Anyway, in this episode, we're talking about stuff that this black man cares about that's in the news. That's pretty much what this episode is about. Glad to have you with me today. So the first thing in the news, Yahoo News is reporting that the Dixie Chicks are now the Chicks. They are taking out the name Dixie because of its association with the Confederacy. What you think about that? Also, Lady Antebellum are now Lady A. It's reported in the same article. So, Dixie Chicks are now the Chicks. Lady Antebellum are now Lady A. Although with Lady Antebellum now being Lady A, it makes me go, well, it's like if your name is Alice and people call you A, ain't your name still Alice? So is it just, you still Lady Antebellum, you just Lady A? I don't quite get that one. I get what the Chicks are doing. Lady Antebellum, you probably got a little ways to go. But I guess the question here, though, is, because antebellum has to do with slavery. It's a time of slavery. Are they doing too much? Do we think that they're doing too much here? I mean, I know some of you do. I know somebody listening is thinking, these people are doing too much with this. But I don't know. I know that their hearts are in the right place. I don't have a problem with it. But I guess the question is, if your name was offensive today, why didn't you realize your name was offensive back then? But I get it. I understand. A lot of white people are awakening to all of this racist stuff that they've just taken for granted. I'm just going to be straight off with it. So, okay. I get it. We give them a pass. Welcome, the Chicks. Lady A, I'm still looking at you with the side eye a little bit, but whatever. And then also, in the news right now, I want to talk about this noose thing with Bubba Wallace in his garage in NASCAR. I think today is June 25th, 2020. NASCAR released the photo of the noose hanging that someone on the crew took when they discovered it. And I know that a lot of people at NASCAR, they did I don't know if we want to call it a walkout or a march in solidarity with Bubba and all this. But I don't know. I need y'all racists to get a little more creative. Y'all still working with the noose thing. I mean, fine. We all know what it means. It's iconography, I guess. you walk in, you see the noose, oop, racist. Got it. So you want to keep it clear. But you would think the racists would get a little more creative with their racism. And I don't mean to take it lightly. And then it also, in what in the world of racism news, this came across my desk in the Folsom Lake area in California. It has been reported that there is what is this thing here? It is a location called the Negro Bar. Do you know I had to read that article 3 times to make sure that wasn't some sort of onion piece or something? But no, this place exists. It's for real. It has garnered almost 70,000 signatures to have the name changed. Let's pause right there. Why do you even need a signature to change the name of this public space that has this big cement sign that says Negro Bar on it? I don't know why that's just not a common sense change of things. I mean, especially considering that the former name of it was the Nigger Bar. So it was called the Nigger Bar for a while, people. Then they said, "Oh, that's too much," so they changed it to the Negro Bar in the 1960s. I mean, what the, what in the name of racism? And so there is a conversation being had right now about changing the name. Okay, I guess you need to have a conversation about that. What in the name of racism is going on around here? In the same area, in the same state, I guess I should say, Fort Bragg natives say that the fort was used to trade scalps of slaughtered Native Americans before the Civil War. And apparently Bragg had also joined the Confederacy, but the town was named for him before he had joined the Confederacy. And so there's now a conversation, from what I understand, that is being brought up that this name needs to be changed. Hello. Obviously. But of course, you're going to have the folks out there who are going to be trying to protest it, who are going to be trying to block the change. This goes back to my first podcast where I'm like, why are you mad? Why? I guess basically this whole Trump administration, in my opinion, has really emboldened the racists. Okay? The racists are saying to us, I have every right to walk out with my racist S on my chest. I guess in this case, my racist R. Like Superman on my chest. And I have every right to promote all my racist ideals and want to see my racist statues and city names and resorts, whatever titles. I want that. And I'm not embarrassed about it. I'm going to talk about it. Although most of the time they're not embarrassed about it until they lose their job. Because recently there was this lady, what was her name? Kathy something, who got recorded saying something she was holding a Confederate flag at the back of a truck as a Black Lives March was going by or something, and she was screaming out, I want to teach my children or my grandchildren to hate you, and she said something about the KKK, acknowledging them or some stuff like this. Okay, well, fast forward, Kathy's fired. And now Kathy is on YouTube, and she's making a mea culpa video, and she's writing posts saying that's not what she mean and that she blacked out. And child, to me, that's even worse. You blacked out and had a whole hate speech. You had a whole hate speech ready to go when you blacked out. Because what she said was, let me back up a little bit. Because what she said was somebody had walked up on her, and I'm assuming when they walked up on her, they was talking some mess. If we give Kathy the benefit of the doubt here, I'm trying to give Kathy the benefit of the doubt. They walked up on her, she talking some mess, and Kathy, blacked out in anger and spewed all this racist stuff. Man, Kathy, have a seat, Kathy. But that's what I feel. Y'all can do what you will with Kathy, okay? As far as forgiving her or whatever you want to do. So then we head over to Philadelphia, where a lot of these Christopher Columbus statues, people are pulling them hoes down. I mean, some people they're not waiting for these majority white, I don't know what you call them, community boards to decide if they want to do this or not. Some people can't wait. And I ain't commenting one way or the other. I'm just saying this is what's happening, okay? And this is what they doing, But anyway, so we're in Philadelphia, and there is a little skirmish going on. There's people trying to protect the racist Christopher Columbus statue. There's people who are trying to, who are protesting it. And I don't know if they were actually trying to tear it down in the moment, because from the video I saw, the police were around there, trying to keep everybody apart. So it seemed like it was mostly a yelling back and forth of ideas, is what it seemed like to me, right? So then this white man, the white man in question, who has been identified as 58-year-old John Mooney. Mr. John Mooney punches the photographer who was documenting this protest. And mind you, in the video, Mooney is standing next to a couple of dudes who look like they're official. I don't know if they were police, but they looked official in terms of like they were. They were, both men were wearing the same kind of outfit. They had on some bike helmets, like maybe they were police who rode on bicycles or something like that. And they were standing on either side of Mooney, who did have a mask on. So at least good for you there, Mooney. At least you were masking up. I will give you that. Now, of course, Mooney, maybe he was masking up because he didn't want anybody to see him out in them streets being a racist. That's a possibility. I don't know. I'm just saying. But anyway, so the brother who is filming him, a black photographer and I guess documentary maker by the name of Mr. Mel D. Cole, who I looked up, and Mr. Cole is a hip-hop photographer. He has a book out about hip-hop from 2002 to 2019, where he has all these cool pictures of all these different artists, from Beyonce, Jay-Z, and all these other people I can't think of that's coming to my mind right now. Anyway, some really nice pictures, and he takes other kind of pictures as well. But, so, the man, Mr. Cole, is filming Mr. Mooney, and Mr. Mooney just hauls off and punches this man in the face. I guess it's in the face. I can't see because he's punching towards the camera and the camera falls to the ground. I mean, what in the name of privilege, white privilege, makes you be standing there between two officers of the law and punch this man in the face? I mean, what is that about? But it also makes me think about I was looking at a news thing a couple of weeks ago, or was it last week, where it was in Ohio, and this young white man was walking through all these crowds of people who were not Black Lives Matter people, these white people, but they were yelling at this man, this young white man who was standing there, standing in solidarity by himself, it looked like in this video. And he was surrounded by at least 20 people, it feels like, who were yelling at him, go home or go to Cleveland, take this stuff to Cleveland or wherever they were yelling. And the police was there. There was like at least 2 officers there. And one of the officers, while the officer was standing there, a man walked up behind that guy, and everybody's white in this video, by the way, just in case you're trying to paint the picture. A man walked up behind this guy who's standing there by himself in solidarity with Black Lives Matter and punches this man on the side of his head from behind. He walks up behind the man and punches him from behind and walks off. Now, mind you, home dude took that punch like a champ. He took that punch like a champ. I mean, his hair fluffed in the wind a little bit from the wind of the punch, but he didn't budge. He didn't stumble. He looked behind him like, who did that? Who hit me? And then he looked to the police. And he goes, I was just punched in the head or something like that. And the police ain't do jack. Ain't do jack. So, what you there for, police? If this man is assaulted in front of you, and you do absolutely nothing. I don't know. But in other news about police not doing nothing about this kind of stuff happening, Yahoo News also reports in New Haven, Connecticut, this is around the 24th of June, members of the Italian American Heritage Foundation got into a skirmish with others at the base of a Christopher Columbus statue. Now, the police, the article says, and the video, you can see there's a video that goes with it, is trying to keep the protesters apart. But when I say keep them apart, they're not really trying to keep them apart. What they're really trying to do, because these people from IAHF are running at this brown man, and the brown man is dipping and dodging away from them, and the police is kind of doing this kind of half-hearted get back, to the people, but they're not getting back. But I didn't see nobody get arrested. I didn't see nobody get taken to the ground. I didn't see it. Not in the video I saw. I mean, I'm trying to be open-minded when it comes to politics. I mean, I'm kind of narrow-minded, I must say, but I try to be open-minded. Like, I want to know what some of the other side is thinking and things like that. At least that's what I like to do, until, of course, somebody says something that's absolutely crazy that I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you think that. Then I stop dealing with it. But anyway. So with that in mind, I went over to Fox News just to kind of see what Fox News was talking about. Because I do have loved ones that I love. Maybe you do too, black folks. Maybe you got somebody you love who listen to Fox News, who watch Fox News, or as I call it, faux news. But they don't get it wrong all the time. As somebody's grandma once said, a broke clock is right twice a day, even when it's broke. Anyway, so they're reporting over there that the founder of BET, Mr. Robert Johnson, he said some stuff talking about he feels like the Democratic Party is taking black voters for granted. Now, I can't disagree with him on that. I do think the Democratic Party takes black voters for granted. I also, think that where else we gonna go though at this point? Well, Mr. Johnson says we need to start a third party. Child. Oh, Lord. We need to start a third Black Lives Matter party. Child, I can't. I barely got the energy to report this story. Really, Mr. Johnson? Now, Mr. Johnson is the same brother who, when he was supporting Hillary, so I assume that he's a Democrat, said some crazy stuff about Obama that he had to later on apologize for when he was, when they initially were running against each other for the Democratic nomination. So I take that to mean that maybe this man is someone who speaks off the cuff a little bit, and sometimes he says stuff that he's going to have to take back later, and this is going to be one of them. Just in terms of the third party part. Like I said, he's right about the Democratic Party does take the black vote for granted. But I'm telling you, all the Republican Party got to do is get a halfway sensible black person to run who's smart and got it together, and they'll probably get the votes as long as they ain't talking none of that crazy stuff that they like to pick up for their party. I mean, they have some crazy candidates over in the Republican Party. I mean, what is that about? I do not know. Witches and warlocks and I don't know about a warlock, but I'm just saying they just have some really crazy people. Some people who don't seem that bright. Talk about they can see rush from their backyard and all that stuff. Anyway, so we know what third parties do. Third parties are very ineffective. So he wants black people to start a third party where they can just sit over there and everybody just credit them, because don't even think about them, because we know they're all going to vote third party anyway, but that's not going to be enough to make a dent. I don't know. Maybe third party if you go local, like you start there and you make a dent in some local elections and things of that nature. Maybe that's what he's talking about. Maybe there's something to it. I don't know. I'm turning my own mind around as I think about it. But if he's talking about on a national level for president, honey, have a seat. Have several seats. That's not happening. That is not going to happen. And then someone, a brother, a successful brother, who is of the Woodson Center, Mr. Bob Woodson or Robert Woodson of the Woodson Center, who is a Republican, in a tweet said recently, talking about all the Black Lives Matter marches, he said on Lou Dobbs Tonight, I guess he was retweeting a quote he said on Lou Dobbs. This isn't about social justice. Low-income black America is being used to promote insurrection in the country. Yada, yada, yada. I'm like, used? That's my problem. I don't have a problem with him saying low-income blacks are in what's the adjective or the word I'm looking for? Are having an uprising or participating in an insurrection. I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is him saying that they're being used as if these people are not looking at what's going on in the world and going, hell to the no more, and deciding to step out on their own. Mr. Woodson, with all due respect, sir, because he is a senior citizen, a successful black man. I guess he's rich, from what I can tell. And, with all due respect, sir, that's some bullshit. So, but everybody. Now, let me back up for a second. Now, his critique of the Black Lives Matter movement, or one of the critiques that I read, was he felt like the Black Lives Matter movement's focus on white on black crime, or police brutality to blacks and people of color, was not in balance with how he felt that they need to be addressing the issues of drugs and violence, etc., in the black community that's perpetuated by black people. So here's my thing. Everyone can't be about everything. Every foundation cannot cover all the issues. Every mission can't have a mission statement about all the stuff that need mission statements. You gotta have a target-like focus to fix some stuff. So there's nothing wrong with Black Lives Matter being as specific as they want to be, or as the organization tends to be, which is dealing with the disproportionate amount of violence, of police violence against black bodies. There's nothing wrong with that. And so when people say, black people, why are we marching for police violence and not marching about the violence in our neighborhoods, and that happens because Lord knows I read articles about innocent black children dying through maybe stray bullets, purposeful bullets in our own communities. And those are issues that people who don't know, listen, we are working on that. We are working on that. But I don't want to make this news report all about negative stuff. Let's round it out with some good positive stuff today. So today we got the BET Awards coming up on June 28th at 7 p.m. So make sure y'all check that out. It's going to be hosted by Amanda Seales. We love her. She also has a special on HBO. Let's see. But besides that, let's talk about NASA having named a headquarters building after Mary W. Jackson. She's one of the women who, from the Hidden Figures movie. It sits on Hidden Figures Way, this new building, and it's a reminder that Mary is one of the many incredible and talented professionals in NASA's history who contributed to the agency's success. All right, this is a quote that was released. Hidden no more. We will continue to recognize the contributions of women, African Americans, and people of all backgrounds who have helped construct NASA's successful history to explore. And that is a great thing. Congratulations, Ms. Mary W. Jackson, on getting a NASA headquarters building named after her. So, once again, that's all I have for you today. If you enjoy what we do, make sure you check out our Instagram page, The Liberal Black. Feel free to email me at theliberalblack@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you, hear some ideas about future episodes and people I should interview if you'd like to do that. And it's a pleasure. From my heart to yours, take care. Ta-ta.